So I remember in the 90s, at that particular point of the 90s, was just looking for work. And through a friend, I had got some agency work at what was known as a scaffolding supply company. Now, I remember when I went there, and I'm watching people without any kind of masking or ventilation aspect at all were spraying what was known as red lead over these older scaffolding tubes. Yeah. And I remember walking into the management office and saying, by the way, you do realize that that's like, and we're talking the 90s here, but it was at least something, from memory, I think about a 10 grand fine per aspect of wrongdoing of how bad that was. After all, if you were to type in red lead, think about the volatility of the chemicals involved to keep something in a liquid suspension, of which they were spraying onto these metal poles. And what was it doing to their health? After all, they were definitely breathing this in. Within minutes, I can assure you. Seriously. They didn't take offense in the slightest. They got somebody to go straight down to a company, I think it's called Arco, and buy a whole bunch of ventilation materials. And fair play. That was a wee wake-up call. I wasn't being rude. I was just watching people who, by default, normally, because whatever, if you're using your hands, you're a man, But there's many people in the building industry who feel quite manly over decades. I didn't do that, especially when they're younger, never realizing what they're inhaling. This is a thing, for example, for many plumbers or roofers. They're melting lead in a vapor, one of the most neurotoxic substances known to man. Yeah, there's been an awful lot of a willful ignorance of what people are dealing with when it comes to many trades. Yeah. But I also remember when it came to health and safety, certainly as regards the UK, there was a certain emphasis also on personal responsibility. Now, when it comes to Freddie Flintoff, yeah, from memory, this guy has an accident, and let's face it, I'll be honest with you, I struggle. I did enjoy the character, the charismatic aspects of people like, Jeremy Clarkson and others, although I could never take to, the others. That's all, saying a second. But, it's entertainment. That's basically it, what they do. Yeah. But this guy gets into a vehicle with next to no kind of protection at all. This without a helmet. Now, even if they said to him, the BBC, listen, we'd like you to do this without a helmet. There's this thing called personal, thank you for that, Bella, responsibility. Yeah? Even if a business says you need to be doing this, you need to apply common sense. You have to have personal responsibility over yourself in a work environment. No matter what you're being told, you just have to know. Yeah? There is. He should have had a helmet on. And if somebody didn't hand him it, he should have demanded it. Yeah? Because if he had, he wouldn't have had the outcome that he did. Yeah? And I looked into some detail about it. And apparently he wasn't even traveling that fast. But remember, it's an entertainment program with some other celebrity known from some other sport, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but he didn't have a helmet on. And he gets £9 million. And I remember seeing some stories, thank you again, Bella, in the last week or two in the Daily Mail, and the comments were, I don't get it. £9 million. Think about how many people in the emergency services get a fraction of anything near that. Yeah. And he did not have a helmet on. Yeah. And it was interesting, the comments that so many people were making. And I feel this is diffusing the potentiality of a demand that some of that £9 million should be paid back, because, as I said, you have to have some personal responsibility. He should have been wearing a helmet. If they didn't hand him one, he should have demanded one, or just walked. Nobody would have disrespected him at all. Remember, we're talking something like this. Now, I actually, believe it or not, under Google as a search, I went Morgan Spencer 3 vehicle. You can't actually find that much data on this at all. Seriously. I bet if I changed the search engine, it would be far more specific. But I suspect it's obviously an electric vehicle. Yeah? So instant torque, all the rest of it, blah, blah, blah. And maybe he just wasn't up to the task. But £9 million, £9 million of taxpayers' money in the form of a license. But every day this guy, this individual, and people will go, come on, Scott, where's your humanity here? I watched something recently, funnily enough, the same publication, the Daily Mail, and he was talking about taking a whole bunch of children to, I think it was India or whatever else, and they had to get out their comfort zone and whatever else, but the whole video smacked to me of the promotion of global citizenship. You know, get out your comfort zone, like how you identify, where you grew up, all the rest of it, because that's all old hat, yeah? And still people will be saying, oh, look, Scott, come on. But really, and you go back to that AI software, that open web. It's funny enough, even the logo looks like an orifice. A sphincter. Which, by the way, is very much to do with the account. Yes, thanks for that, Bella. So I went to worst rated. He sold his soul for money. Because when I looked at best rated, I'm thinking, AI, it's allowed or not. I always had a soft spot for Freddie. I think he's gorgeous. Honestly, I promise you, a few days before, and the top comments were, let's face it, 9 million quid. And it was his personal responsibility to have or demand a helmet. But, so this is damage limitation. I think he's concerned about somebody might start saying, really, £9 million because you were an idiot? Yeah. And people, even to this point in the video, be like, where the hell is your humanity, Scott? Seriously, look at this thing of where he's, taking some people to India and he's talking about taking them out their comfort zone. It reeks of global citizenship, obligation, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, when you think about how many people, especially over the last few decades, who have had so much more trauma, yeah, I'll maybe never get over this. I honestly think this is more about, he's concerned about, and people, honestly, this is not going to be an easy sell. A lot of people will be appalled, but it reeks to me that this guy realizes that quite legitimately people should be questioning how the fuck he got £9 million for being an irresponsible arse. And I'll speak to you soon.